Hello everyone, my name is Brooke and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking all about personal branding and how you can create your own unique personal brand that is special to you to help people remember your YouTube channel, Instagram, or just you in general by. A little bit first about my background. I do have a degree in graphic design. I have a Bachelor's of Design honors degree, which I graduated from about a year and a half ago. My favorite part about graphic design is the branding portion. I adore branding. I love color schemes, typefaces, all those things. And I've also really enjoyed creating a personal brand for myself here on YouTube. Personal brands are a little bit different than business brands, and personal brands can also be really challenging because you're not finding a brand for an outside source. You're finding a brand that represents who you are as a person, which can sometimes be really hard to figure out. So first off, why is it important to have a personal brand for your channel? First off, it just looks nice. The whole aesthetic of it makes your channel look so much nicer and so much more professional. People are going to trust you more and think of you as an actual YouTuber, influencer, Instagrammer instead of just a person uploading videos. Personal brands are also important for people to be able to recognize you. People should be able to look at a thumbnail, look at a profile photo, or look at really anything you've done and be able to identify it as yours and part of your personal brand. And the more people recognize you, the more likely someone is going to subscribe or click on this video if they've seen this one from you and really liked, or really just come back for more. So really the first step to personal branding is brainstorming. Who are you? What are you doing on the internet? This is kind of intimidating at first when you really get into it because there are so many things that you probably want to be, or how do you characterize yourself can also be really difficult. A great way to start looking is looking into your niche. What are some descriptive words to describe what your niche is or what section of the internet you're going to be on? So for example, I personally like to categorize my content on 3 different pillars. So mainly I am in the Disney community, creating Disney vlogs at Disney World. I'm also in the lifestyle community, specifically more of a college lifestyle vibe, and then I also focus on motivation and productivity. And those are kind of the 3 pillars that I focus all of my content on. So thinking of that, what tone or what vibe are you looking for? What are some descriptive words of that style? And also think of words that you want to be represented by. When people think of your channel, what words do you want them to think of? So the 3 words that I came up with that represent my personal channel and what I want people to think of it when they see it is authentic, inspired, and community. So that's kind of what I would like to create my overall mood about. In addition to that, some words that I came up with when I want people to think about my channel are informative, fun, motivational, friendly, energetic, and happy. I am 24 now, so with my recent rebrand, which I just did like a week ago, I decided to put a little bit more of a mature theme around the actual branding, so it's not, I don't necessarily want to use the word childish as it used to be, but it does look a little bit more like a 24-year-old versus when I first came up with the original kind of vibe of it, I was like 19, 20. So changing the whole kind of vibe style of my channel. You can rebrand your channel as much as I want. Like I said, I love branding, so I rebrand my channel honestly like once or twice a year, which is excessive. Trust me, I know, but I do keep a lot of the elements very consistent, which makes it very cohesive still, which is why I am able to do that and still keep a cohesive brand to my channel. But for this rebrand right here, I wanted more of a older, mature tone to it, something that fits my content. This here is my new YouTube channel banner, and I feel like it encapsulates that whole idea of what I was looking for very well. The next thing you're going to want to look at after you've kind of found the whole aesthetic you would like around your channel and what that channel or what you as a personal brand is going to be like is that you're going to want to pick a good name. Now, some of you watching this may already have a channel or a brand and already have a name, which in that case, you can totally skip this step, or you may be looking to revamp your name to make it something a little bit better. I'm going to be talking here from mainly a Disney perspective because that's what I'm personally familiar with in the Disney niche community, and as well as like the college lifestyle community. But first things first, you're going to want to have something that's memorable. My channel name is Part of Brooke's World. I have gone back and forth from that between Part of Brooke's World and TheBrookeRogers, which is obviously my name. Part of Brooke's World seems to be what sticks always, and it's because it's short, it's sweet, all the words are very simple, and all the words are easy to remember. If you have a last name, for example, that's very hard to spell, that might not be a great option then to put as your channel name. You might want to brainstorm some sort of nickname or something, because it might be very hard for people to spell that and type that in and get it correctly when they're trying to search you up. And it may not also stick in their brain as to what that name is. So you want something that's very memorable and unique. You also want it to be search engine optimized, which means that when someone types in the name of your channel, you're actually gonna come up, or your Instagram handle, you're actually gonna come up. So for example, when you see a Disney username that's like Magical Wishes 02 or something, maybe that might be memorable, I'm not sure, but when you type in Magical Wishes in any sort of search bar, you're going to get thousands upon thousands of results. And if you haven't made a name for yourself already, you're gonna be near the bottom of that, and people are never gonna be able to find you. So how are people able to find you in the first place, or come back for more if when they search your name, they can't find you? So that is so important, and this is a huge mistake I see people make, is copying other people's usernames, either word for larger creators, which doesn't really make sense to me, like you're never gonna be found, or using very generic terms, magical, castle, wishes, all of those kind of words in the Disney community especially. No one's ever gonna find you. It's just not going to happen. So you need something that's very unique. Originally, when I created Part of Brooke's World, there were no other part of anyone's world that existed. I had searched on Instagram and on YouTube as the main two, and those usernames, I couldn't find anything that existed. That doesn't mean, I guess, there weren't some out there, but it means there was nothing prominent and I wasn't copying anyone else. That was something that was very unique. And then also, finally, you want the name to fit who you are. If the name doesn't represent you, it's not gonna stick, it's not gonna work, and you're not gonna like it. The most important part about personal branding is that it represents you and who you are. Next, we're gonna talk colors, and colors is my favorite part of personal branding. If you are familiar with my brand at all, you probably know this color right here. This color has been my personal brand color since the beginning, this exact color. People know me by this color. The other day, I literally had someone message me on Instagram who is a follower who I don't know personally, told me that her and her husband literally refer to this color in life as Brooke Blue. That is an effective personal brand color. People know me by this color, people recognize me by this color. Whenever someone who sees my channel often sees this color outside of my channel, they recognize it as my brand and my color, which is huge, and something that isn't even related to me suddenly makes them think of me. It's crazy, and color association is so important. So obviously when you're choosing a color palette, you want it to represent you. Starting off just straight up, what's your favorite color? That's a really great place to start. You can also get into color psychology. If you're not sure what color psychology is, basically it means that colors have different meanings to different people and different things. So if you're looking for a channel, you want to make a channel about minimalism and like something that's very like sleek and simple and calming, you're not going to choose a bright red for your channel color. You're probably going to choose like a very like warm, calming brown, maybe like a taupey color, or even like a lighter blue that's very calming, something like that that's going to fit the style and the vibe. So you want to think about you want to think about color psychology, and also what is going to fit that style and the vibe that you're looking for. This is a really great place where you're going to go back to those descriptive words that we came up with in the beginning. How can you choose a color that represents you and your style? When you have one color in mind, it's really then great to go through and find an entire color palette. So although this one color here is the color that is my main color, I do have an entire color palette of colors that I do use quite often for my channel. And these colors all complement this main color right here. You could do this multiple ways. You could have 2 main colors, 3 main colors, and then multiple complementary colors, or just stick with like 3 main colors or something. There are so many different options for color palettes out there, but you're gonna wanna find a color palette that suits you. If you're not any sort of designer, it might be kind of hard to find colors that complement well with each other. There are a lot of resources online where you're gonna be able to find color palettes and find colors that complement each other and make a cohesive branding color palette. From these color palettes, what you're going to want to do is find the hex code. It's going to be a little code that looks something like this, and you're going to want to find hex codes of the colors that you want to choose. The hex code is so that the color is the same all the time. The hex code is a number represented with that color. So whenever you're using a different platform, I tend to use like Photoshop, Illustrator, Canva. I type in that hex code and it's always the same color on every platform. I'm not using a little slider to try and like guess where exactly that blue is. No, I know what the hex code is, and I know exactly what color that is, which means it's the exact same every single time. Next up, you're gonna find your typefaces, or the fonts that are gonna represent you and your channel. A couple things with fonts. Number one, you're gonna wanna make sure they are legible from a distance. If people cannot read them, it is not gonna serve you any good at all. Number two, you're gonna stay away from Comic Sans because no one likes it and it looks very unprofessional. Don't use Comic Sans. Three, you're gonna choose something you like and once again represents you. And also the style and vibe that you're going for with your channel and your brand. If you have no idea where to even start, I suggest going on Google Fonts. This is where you're gonna find the most free typefaces that you're gonna be able to download and use on a regular basis. As well as Google Fonts, I believe are also in Canva, or a lot of them are. You can also go through Canva and just look at fonts. Canva also has a really great tool that you can go into like their headings and that, and where you're gonna be able to use fonts that complement each other. I wouldn't go for more than 3 fonts probably. You could maybe get away with 4. I would not try to get away with more than 3 different types of type for your channel, and once again, you're gonna wanna make sure they all complement each other. I just redid this as well, and you're gonna be able to see this coming out more soon on my channel. Before I was using Lemon Milk right here. Right now I'm using this font Mermaid, which is like my main heading font, or I'm going to be starting to. I just feel like with the little serifs, it has a lot more of that mature kind of older vibe to it that I was looking for, while still being fun. It's a very bold font. And then Lato is the type I'm currently using for my sans serif complementary font. So as a secondary font, if you're having a really hard time finding fonts, you can Google what fonts complement each other. There are so many lists of different fonts that complement each other just regularly on Google, or even check out Pinterest as well. Now that we've created the generalized personal brand, we're gonna put this all together in a graphic toolbox, which is just basically a sheet that is gonna display for you all of the different colors, fonts, and everything that you chose, so it's nice, quick, and easy reference. You do not need a logo. I think this is a huge misconception that a lot of people think they need a logo for their social media personal brand. It is a good idea to have a logo eventually, but it is not something you need right out of the gate whatsoever. I currently don't really have a logo. I just really base all my branding off of this blue color right here. I have had a logo in the past. This here is my personal brand logo that I used for graphic design stuff. So as you can see, it's TheBrookeRogers right there. But logo building is a whole other game in itself, and there are so many rules and so many things you need to follow to do logo building right, but it's best just to stick with the simple elements first. Other elements you can add onto your little graphic toolbox are any sort of icons you might want to use, or symbols. Personally, I love using the bubbles. These bubbles right here are something that are very consistent with my branding because it's part of Brooke's world, goes back to Little Mermaid, Under the Sea, bubbles, it just kind of works. So bubbles are something I've always kind of had going on, along with just this little period at the end of the sentence here. So it just says part of Brooke's world, period, and that's also something that I've just kind of started trending with. I think it personally started as more of like a addition to the bubbles kind of deal, because it was like one at the end. I'm not sure, but it is something that I've started doing that I've just kind of kept going with. You can also make a mood board if you'd like. If you're looking to keep a certain vibe going, a certain aesthetic going with your brands that you really want to stick to, you could definitely go on Pinterest or the internet or wherever and find photos to help create a mood board for the vibe that you want to create. You could print this off, you can make it your desktop background, whatever you want to do, but having that mood board can also be really beneficial, especially if you ever do have anyone else trying to create anything for you. Being able to send them this stuff is really important. So now that you've created your personal brand, what the heck are you gonna do with all of these elements? You have the type, you have the colors. Charlie's barking. You have the type, you have the colors, but what the heck are you gonna do with it? Here are some places that you're going to want to live out and create things with your personal branding. First off, your profile photo. Notice how my profile photo right here is that same turquoise color in the background. And also keeping your profile photo consistent on every single platform. No matter what platform it is, Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok, my profile photo is the same. And that way people can recognize me from platform to platform. YouTube thumbnails. Use the same fonts and same colors, and they're gonna all look very cohesive and very put together, and people are soon gonna be able to recognize if a video is yours just by looking at the thumbnail. YouTube banner. This represents your channel when someone first clicks on it. This is huge to put your personal brand on. A YouTube intro and outro. Not so many people are doing intro cards anymore, I don't think. I feel like that's like give or take whether you want to or not, but outro cards specifically can definitely have your branding on it. Instagram highlights. If you want to do highlight colors on your Instagram account, you can put those personal brand colors in there. there. Instagram also does have, if you just Google like Instagram fonts, there are some fonts there too that you could change your profile name. They don't have a lot of fonts though, it's very limited, so if something happens to match up and be similar, you could do that. Mainly looking at those highlight covers, and if you wanted to like write a word in your highlight cover, that's another place you could use the type. And then also your Instagram filter. So personally, I created an Instagram filter myself that includes a lot of teal. It also includes a lot of red, which I really enjoy, but if you look at my Instagram feed, it's very teal based, which really just relates the whole thing, once again making it look super cohesive and just adding in that little bit of teal everywhere. And that's pretty much it. If you follow all these steps, you will definitely be able to come up with your own personal brand. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Go check out my channel and subscribe if you haven't already. Like we've already talked about, I post videos about Disney stuff, college lifestyle, and motivation and productivity. So thank you again so much for watching, and have a magical rest of your day.